Andre Ward says now is the time to make Terence "Bud" Crawford versus Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. fight happen. No need to let this fight marinate and build. Now is the time. It's at its peak. Stay tuned. Coming up next.
Hey, this is Cassie, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout outs to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, habla Cindy, está viendo Deportes TV.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Andre S.O.G. Ward, retired undefeated, stated that now is the time to witness Terence "The Bud" Crawford versus Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. He says that they've been letting these fights marinate. They always let big fights marinate. He said if you look behind the scenes, he said none of these fights just started getting mentioned. Their team's been talking behind the scenes and have an understanding for both fights to be built up and marinate. He said, but now is the time for this fight to take place. Errol Spence is 29 years old, 28, 29 years old. Terence Crawford will be 32 years old in September, I believe. He said that now is the time to have the fight. Now is the time to make the fight. We need to get unified, undisputed welterweight champion. He says out of all the divisions, this is probably the most intriguing division to get an undisputed champion in. He says because of all the star power, all the name recognition, right? And I'm in total agreement with Andre Ward in this situation. I'm in total agreement. I think that Terence "Bud" Crawford, we saw a hell of a performance from Errol Spence Jr. Versus Mikey Garcia just this past Saturday. He put on a hell of a performance, blowing Mikey Garcia out, winning virtually every single round in that fight. With that said, we know that Terence "Bud" Crawford has a fight coming up with Mayor King Kong, April 20th, Madison Square Garden, and that true is going to be a hell of a fight, right? But the thing is now, at this point in time, we need to see the two best, because you know the world is just clamoring for this fight because the world believes that Terence "Bud" Crawford is #1 pound for pound in the world. And now since Errol Spence Jr. had his victory over Mikey Garcia, whom was undefeated 39-0, everybody is saying that Errol Spence is #1 pound for pound in the world. You know, some people think he's #2. You know, some people think he's #1. If you think he's #1, most people have Terence Crawford at #2. If you think Terence Crawford is #1, most people have Errol Spence at #2 at this point in time. So most people were stating that, you know, Terence "Bud" Crawford was the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world, and that Errol Spence Jr. was the best welterweight in the world. But after his beautiful victory over Mikey Garcia this past weekend, now, you know, it's looking like, you know, more and more people are coming to the understanding that that Errol Spence is a pound for pound fighter himself, a top pound for pound fighter, you know. So, you know, it just looks like this fight has been on a collision course for quite some time, for quite some time, man. You know, they had their run-in the hallway. You know, they went back and forth in the hallway. You know, they were debating in the hallway who would beat who. Errol Spence said, "I'm gonna stop you." Terence Crawford was saying, "Man, you need to do some workout, man. Your stomach looking quite big at the moment." You know, the build-up for this fight, I think, is at its peak. You know, will we get this fight next? I doubt if we get this fight next. If should Terence Crawford be victorious against Amir Khan. But after Terence Crawford faces Amir Khan, we may see Errol Spence looking to unify against Shawn Porter. He's looking to get the fight with Manny Pacquiao. I doubt if that fight comes to fruition because I just don't think that Manny Pacquiao is under the mindset that he wants to fight Errol Spence Jr. He was saying that he wanted to fight the winner, but I think the more likely scenario would have been Mikey Garcia winning and Manny Pacquiao facing Mikey Garcia. I don't think Manny Pacquiao wants that fight. I think that Manny Pacquiao will go the route of facing Keith Thurman, and then Errol Spence will go the route of facing Shawn Porter. Well, that leaves Terence "Bud" Crawford in the cold. But, you know, we see Danny Garcia will have a fight with Adrian Granados coming up. So maybe if Danny Garcia is victorious against Adrian Granados, we could see Terence Crawford versus Danny Garcia, and we could see Errol Spence versus Shawn Porter. Should Errol Spence be victorious against Shawn Porter, which is no walk in the park, which is no guarantee, but should he be victorious against Shawn Porter, you know, he will be the IBF and the WBC unified champion. Terence Crawford beats the likes of a Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia doesn't hold the belt. He just holds the name recognition. You know, that sets up, it won't set up for Undisputed because Terence Crawford is the WBO champion, but Keith Thurman is the WBA champion. And Errol Spence is the IBF champion. Sean Porter is the WBC champion. But with that said, Errol Spence would capture, you know, the WBC title. So he'll be the IBF champion and WBC champion. But most likely Keith Thurman is going to go the route of facing Manny Pacquiao. So should Terence Crawford face Danny Garcia and be victorious versus Danny Garcia, Errol Spence is victorious against Sean Porter, and they're on the collision course for a unified bout. You know, the winner of that fight would be the WBO, the IBF, and the WBC champion, which I'm pretty sure that fight will have a rematch clause in it. So we'll probably see that fight at the very least twice. And then the winner of that fight can go on to become undisputed against Keith Thurman, thus giving Keith Thurman time to you know, to get his feet fully wet and fully planted back in the game. He had a lot of ring rust in his fight against Josito Lopez. He was hurt and nearly stopped in that fight in the 7th round. And so, you know, a fight with Manny Pacquiao for Keith Thurman, I highly favor Keith Thurman to be victorious against Manny Pacquiao, which still is not a guarantee. It's not a pushover fight a la Errol Spence and Sean Porter, but I'm just speaking hypothetically at the moment. So should Keith Thurman be victorious against Manny Pacquiao, and we see Terence Crawford and Errol Spence fight, which is the super fight, you know, and Keith Thurman is able to grab another opponent, and in between that time, and because I'm pretty sure they will have a rematch, especially if that fight is close, unless somebody gets blown out the water, it's most likely going to go to a rematch. The winner is not, and they're both champions, so the winner of that fight is not going to just want to relinquish the belts and not get it a shot back at it, you know. So you know, and then later on down the line we'll get a fight with Keith Thurman for Undisputed. You understand? So maybe Sean Porter could get another shot at Keith Thurman and that WBA title. You see what I mean? So if Sean Porter was to lose to Errol Spence, as long as Sean Porter doesn't get blown out the water and look horrible in that fight, then we can see Sean Porter actually get a fight with Keith Thurman, a rematch with Keith Thurman. That could be another fight for Keith Thurman should he get past Manny Pacquiao. You see what I'm saying? So then we'll get Keith Thurman against Manny Pacquiao, and we could get Terence Crawford against Danny Garcia, Errol Spence versus Sean Porter, and the winner of those fights, Errol Spence goes on to fight Terence Bud Crawford, right? Because Terence Bud Crawford is getting older. As I stated, he'll be turning 32 in September. So this fight can't drag on for much longer, because then it's going to start to look like the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao situation when people felt like neither fighter was still in their prime. So I'm in 100%, 1,000% agreement with Andre Ward. I think this fight needs to happen in 2019, and it very well can happen in 2019 if all goes well. So I hope that it goes well, everything goes well, and we can see this fight take place in 2019 at the very latest, early 2020. But that's all I got, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Do you agree with Andre Ward saying that this fight doesn't need to marinate anymore? It needs to happen right now. Are you in agreement? I agree with Andre Ward. Let me know what y'all think. Drop a comment in the comment section. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
The Blue Blood Sport TV, baby, from the Empress. Much love.